Welcome everyone to your 2026 open enrollment meeting. Open enrollment is running from Monday through December 1st. So it did start in ADP. Benefit elections are effective for January 1st, 2026. As a reminder, this meeting is going to be recorded. So if you have any personal claims questions, I recommend you reach out to Benefits VIP. We'll leave time at the end of the presentation to ask general benefits questions.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks, Mike.
All right, so first slide here, we have My Life Advisors through ADP. They can help you with your benefits eligibility. They can help you make your elections, reset your password. You can also reach out to them for payroll inquiries and any HR inquiries. Benefits VIP, this is a service that we provide to Samuel Ramirez employees. This is a one-stop shop for benefits. You can ask all of your personalized benefits questions. Everything is completely confidential. It is not shared with the team at Samuel Ramirez. They are available from Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can also reach out to them via email. Open enrollment. So today we're going to be talking about medical, dental, vision, the spending accounts, life disability, short-term disability, long-term disability, and the voluntary benefits. This is a passive enrollment, which means you will not be required to actively re-enroll in coverage. FSA does require re-enrollment every year. So right here, we have a summary of this year's renewal and the changes that we're going to be talking through today. The 3 medical plans will remain with UMR. There are changes to the plan design on both the EPO and the PPO plan, and we'll talk through those changes.
Click on the link, and
I'm just going to place everyone on mute. We'll talk through those changes as we go through the presentation. The pharmacy benefits manager will be changing from Optum, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the presentation. Dental and vision plan designs will remain the same. There are slight increases to the vision frame allowance, and we'll talk through that when we get to the vision section. FSA and HSA, Samuel Ramirez will now be offering a limited purpose FSA. This pairs with that high deductible plan and the HSA, so you can use the limited purpose funds for dental and vision expenses. Samuel Ramirez will continue to contribute $500 for a single and $1,000 for a family if you enroll in the high deductible health plan into your HSA. The frequency for this funding is you will receive 50% on January 15th and the remaining 50% on July 15th. Long-term disability, the benefits will remain the same for 2026, but we have an exciting change for 2026. The benefit will be offered as a tax choice option. So this is a great option to enhance your benefit, especially those individuals who, elected the voluntary long-term disability prior to the employer rolling out the employer-paid long-term disability. This is a great way to sort of increase or enhance that benefit. And we'll talk through that in a little bit more detail a little bit later on. So open enrollment is now. What does that mean? This is your time to enroll in coverage for the first time, add or remove dependents, switch between medical, dental, vision plans. You can enroll or re-enroll in the flexible spending account. You can also terminate your coverages. Changes outside of open enrollment are limited to qualifying life events. Before choosing a plan, you want to consider your personal situation. You want to compare costs, so the monthly contributions out of your paycheck deductible, co-insurance, co-pays, out-of-pocket limits. You want to review other insurance. So if your spouse has a plan, you're going to want to also review that coverage. You're also going to want to check if your doctors and your healthcare professionals are in the plan's network. So as I said, changes outside of open enrollment are only limited to qualifying life events. Qualifying life events are things that happen throughout the year, such as a marriage, a divorce, a death of a spouse or a dependent, a birth, adoption, involuntary loss in coverage. This is just a very, very short list of a much more expansive list of what a qualified life event is. Once you have a qualifying life event, you have 31 days from this event date to make your changes in ADP. You'll need to reach out to HR if you have one of those qualifying life events so that they can open that up for you in ADP. So who is eligible for coverage? So employees who are working 30 or more hours per week are eligible for Samuel Ramirez's benefits. Your legal spouse, domestic partner, biological adopted stepchildren, and children of a domestic partner are also eligible to enroll in coverage with you. And dependent children will be covered through the end of the year in which they turn 26. So if your dependent is turning 26 this year, they will be covered through the end of the year. So this slide, we're going to talk about the difference between a dependent and a beneficiary. So a dependent is someone who you enroll in coverage with you. We just talked about what a dependent is. And a beneficiary is someone you designate to receive the funds from the benefit if you pass, such as the life insurance or the 401k. So this is a reminder for everyone to go into the portal and update their beneficiaries if they've changed. You want to do that throughout the year if that changes mid-year. So this slide, we're going to talk about your different healthcare terminology. We're going to start off on the left-hand side here with what is a deductible. A deductible is the amount that you're responsible for before the carrier will pay any expenses. Coinsurance is the percentage of charges that you're required to pay. The carrier pays the remaining percentage. Then we have a copay. This is a flat fee that you're required to pay directly to the provider at the time of visit. And then we have maximum out-of-pocket. Maximum out-of-pocket, I like to think of this as the most that you're going to pay out or your worst case scenario in a given plan year. If you go out-of-network, just know you can be balance billed. So if you see out-of-network providers, you can exceed this maximum out-of-pocket. Health savings account. Health savings account is a pre-tax vehicle that allows you to set aside money for qualified healthcare expenses. So this reduces your taxable income. So as I said, the plans are going to remain with UMR this year, but there are some changes to the benefits, specifically with the high deductible health plan and the EPO plan. So we're going to start off here with that high deductible health plan that pairs with that HSA account. The high deductible health plan this year will be getting out-of-network coverage. In the past, it's been an in-network only plan, but for 2026, you will have access to out-of-network coverage. This plan has a $2,000 deductible for an individual and a $4,000 deductible for a family. If no individual within a family will pay more than $3,400 towards that $4,000 family deductible. In network, you have a 10% co-insurance. If you go out of network, this goes up to 30%. Your out-of-pocket maximum in network is $3,000 for an individual and $6,000 for a family. Preventative care is covered at 100%. And then everything else is going to apply to the deductible. What that means is you're going to have to pay either $2,000 out as a single or $4,000 out as a family. And then the insurance kicks in and it covers 90%, and you're responsible for the remaining 10%. On the high deductible health plan, the only thing that is covered prior to the deductible is going to be preventative care. If we move on down to the RX benefits, the RX benefits do apply to the deductible. Once you've met your deductible, then you will pay either $10 for a generic or tier 1, $30 for a preferred brand name or tier 2, $50 for a non-preferred brand name medication, and $50 for a specialty medication. If you get your prescriptions through mail order, it is 2.5 times the retail copay. So you get a 90-day supply for 2.5 times the retail copay. So you're saving about a half a copay there if you get your prescriptions through the mail. As I said, this plan now has out-of-network coverage. The out-of-network coverage has a $4,000 deductible for an individual, $8,000 for a family. It has 30% coinsurance, and your out-of-pocket maximum is $8,000 for an individual and $16,000 for a family. San Maria Ramirez does contribute to an HSA account. If you enroll into this plan, you will get $500 if you enroll as an individual, or $1,000 if you enroll as a family. These funds are there to help you offset the deductible. There is a slight there is no change. I'm sorry, there is no change in the contributions for 2026 for this plan. So not only are we adding the out-of-network here, but there's no change in the contributions. So next, we're going to talk about that HSA account. So we have the high deductible health plan that we just talked about, which is the underlying medical plan. And then we have this pre-tax or financial vehicle called a health savings account. A health savings account, or an HSA, will reduce your taxable income. These funds are there tax-free to utilize for eligible expenses such as deductible, coinsurance, vision, dental care, COBRA premiums, long-term care insurance, and so forth. San Maria Ramirez does give you funds into that account, and there is no use it or lose it rule with an HSA like there is with an FSA. So these funds will roll over year to year, and you can grow the funds in that account. Once you've reached $1,000 in that account, you can invest those dollars. What disqualifies you from enrolling in an HSA? You cannot enroll in an HSA if you have Medicare or TRICARE. You cannot be an eligible dependent on another person's tax return, and you cannot participate in a healthcare FSA or a spouse's healthcare FSA. You also need to be covered by a high deductible health plan. So if you're not covered by a high deductible health plan, then you can't be enrolled in the HSA. If you're currently enrolled in plan A or B with that FSA account, you're going to want to spend down those dollars before you open up that HSA account. You cannot open up that HSA account until you spend down those dollars. The IRS sets new limits each year for how much you can contribute pre-tax into these accounts. So that's $4,300 for an individual, $8,550 for a family. This does include the amount that San Maria Ramirez is contributing into your HSA. So if you're an individual enrolling in coverage and San Maria Ramirez is giving you that $500, then you cannot put more than $3,800 of your own pre-tax money. Same thing for a family. The family contribution is $1,000. You cannot put more than $7,550 of your own dollars. Employees over the age of 55 can contribute an extra $1,000 catch-up amount. If you and your spouse both have an HSA account, you can contribute an extra $1,000 into this account. So before we move on to the next plan, just to recap this all, the HSA plan, the contributions are not changing. San Maria Ramirez is going to continue to contribute to that account. And now you have access to that out-of-network coverage. So if you were enrolled in that PPO plan in prior years, I would consider taking a look at that high deductible health plan, because now there is that out-of-network access. So the next slide we're going to move into is an example of someone enrolled in that HSA with no dependents. So Jack has the deductible of $2,000. Apologies. He paid a total of $330 all year towards his deductible. Samuel Ramirez will contribute $500 into Jack's account. Jack's expenses out of pocket will be $0. They'll be 100% covered by the funds that Samuel Ramirez contributes. He gets that annual physical at $0, and then the specialist visit costs $230, and the PCP costs $100. So that's what adds up to that total of $330, and that is 100% covered by the funds that Samuel Ramirez is putting into his HSA account. Now we're going to look at Liz. Liz is enrolled with no dependents, but she has a lot more care throughout the year. So Liz has a $2,000 deductible. She got an annual physical. She had outpatient surgery, which costs $2,500, and the diagnostic lab work, which costs $180. Her total medical expenses equal $2,680 for the year. Liz is responsible for the $2,000 deductible and then 10% of the remaining. Her total responsibility will be $2,050. Since Liz satisfied $2,000 of her deductible, she's only responsible for $180 of that lab bill, or 10%. Liz's total out of pocket for the year is $2,068. Because Samuel Ramirez put $1,000 into her HSA account, she's only responsible for $1,500, approximately $1,600 out of her pocket. So HSA account. HSA plan. So high deductible health plan works a bit differently than the other plans we're going to discuss today. When you go to the doctor, you're not going to pay at the time of visit in most cases. The provider needs to submit that to the insurance. The insurance will process the claim, and then they'll produce what we call an explanation of benefits, or an EOB. You'll then receive that EOB on your portal or in the mail. You'll match that up with the bill from the provider, and then you're going to pay that bill with either your HSA account, or you can pay and then reimburse yourself from that HSA account. So on a high deductible health plan, you should not be paying at the time that you receive care, with the exception, some providers are adamant about you paying at the time of care. So you, in some cases, you may have to, but I would always recommend pushing back on the provider and reminding them that you're in that high deductible health plan. With prescription, you will pay at the time that you pick up the prescription. So when you go to the pharmacy, the first day of the plan year, you will pay the full cost of the medication. At the pharmacy, you can utilize your HSA funds to pay for that medication. You can pay for it with a credit card and then reimburse yourself from that HSA account. So next, we're going to move on to our second plan, which is Plan B. This is the EPO plan. There are some changes to this plan this year, and the changes are notated in red. So we're going to talk through this in a little bit more detail here in a second. The contributions also did increase slightly on this plan this year. The deductible for a single is going to remain the same, $1,500 for an individual, $3,000 for a family. This year, we're going to be introducing a little bit of co-insurance, a little bit of cost share on this plan. So it's going from 0% co-insurance up to 10% co-insurance, very minimal. And the out-of-pocket maximum is increasing because we're adding that co-insurance factor there. So it's going from $1,500 up to $2,000, and from $3,000 for a family up to $4,000. Preventative care is covered at 100%. Your PCP specialist and telemedicine copays are only going up about $5 or $10, very minimal increases. Your inpatient hospital is now going to be, your inpatient hospital and your outpatient surgery is going to be 10% after you've met that deductible. Labs and x-rays, this is a little bit more streamlined for this year. So it's going to be 10%. The deductible is waived if you receive this in an office setting or a freestanding facility. So if you go to like a LabCorp or a Quest, if you get that lab work or that MRI done at an outpatient hospital facility, you will pay 10% after you've met your deductible. So you'll need to meet that deductible. Urgent care copay is that $50, and the emergency room is going up to $250. The RX has a $100 deductible for an individual or $300 deductible for a family. It is waived for generic medication. And then you'll pay $10 for a tier 1 or generic medication, $30 for a tier 2 or brand name medication, $50 for tier 3 or tier 4 medications, which are generally your specialty or non-preferred brand name medications. Mail order will save you that half a copay here as well. And then the contributions are here at the bottom of the slide. There is a slight increase from last year. So now we're going to move on to the last plan which is offered, which is the PPO plan. The PPO plan offers in and out of network coverage, but unlike the high deductible health plan that now has that out of network coverage, you will pay co-pay amounts here for most services. There is no co-insurance if you go in network, and the deductible is lower, but the out of pocket, out of your paycheck, is the highest on this plan. So there is a $1,500 deductible for a single, $3,000 for a family. There's no co-insurance. Your PCP is going to cost you $20. Your specialist is going to cost you $40. Your telemedicine is going to be $45. Your labs and x-rays, depending on where you receive them, are going to either be a copay or they're going to be applicable to the deductible. The emergency room is $100. If you're admitted, it is waived. There is a slight change on this plan for this year. The way that the out-of-network is going to be reimbursed is going to be at a rate of 300% of Medicare. In the past, this was assessed a little bit differently. So it is much richer now with that 300% of Medicare out of network. Most people utilize the out of network for mental health coverage and so forth, where there are not as many providers in network. So this is a great benefit for this year. As a reminder, the contributions did increase slightly on this plan this year, and they are listed at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so know before you go. So just a reminder, primary care doctors are great for general health questions, your routine checkups. They are going to be the lowest cost of care facilities. Then we have urgent care facilities. Urgent care facilities have extended hours. They're for non-emergency visits, and they're going to be considerably less costly than your emergency room, especially if you're on that high deductible health plan or on that APO plan. No appointments are required for urgent care, so this is a great place to go if it's not a true emergency. And then we all know emergency rooms are for a true emergency, and these will be the highest cost and the longest wait times generally. Okay, so we're going to move into the changes with the prescription now. So there are no changes to the amount that you're going to pay for prescriptions with copays, but there is a change in the vendor. So we're moving from Optum to Proact and RX Valet, and we'll talk through what that means here on this slide. So Proact is going to be the new PBM. They're the ones responsible for your claims, determining eligibility, processing any prior authorizations. They can help you with any issues that you're having. And then we have RX Valet. And RX Valet is a new solution this year to maximize savings for you, the participant. RX Valet is a cost-saving measure that will help you acquire your medication through alternative sourcing, whether that be international or from different places here domestically. So we'll talk through that. RX Valet is not mandatory, but it will save you money when you pick up your prescription. So Proact is going to handle all of the retail prescription and domestic mail order. So if you're receiving a maintenance med through the mail order and it's not a specialty medication, it'll likely go through ProAct. If you're receiving a specialty medication, you'll receive an outreach from RX Valet, and they will facilitate any alternative drug sourcing or prescription assistance programs. You need a medication, you can go to any retail pharmacy, present your benefits card. So everyone's going to be receiving a new benefits card in 2026. Your ID number should remain the same, but on that card, you will see that the pharmacy information is changing. Some medications may require a prior authorization. ProAct will assist with this, and they will reach out to your provider. If you're on a maintenance medication, you'll most likely receive this through domestic mail order. We highly encourage this. It will save you money, like I said. And then lastly, we have the RX Valet component. If your prescription is a specialty medication or it qualifies for the RX Valet program, RX Valet will reach out to you after your first fill of the year, and they will handhold you through the entire process. They're going to give you the option to fill your medication either through mail order from internationally or through whatever programs are available domestically. If you go through RX Valet, you will have to pay nothing for the medication. So this is going to help a lot of the members who have specialty medication and are paying a lot of out of their pocket for those specialty medications. If your medication qualifies, RX Valet will reach out to you, and you can fill your prescription through them. If you fill your prescription through them, your copay or your deductible, will be waived. So this is a great program. Their contact information is at the bottom here. So just be on the lookout after 1/1. If you're on one of those specialty medications, RX Valet will be reaching out. So if you need a prior authorization, as a reminder, ProAct will handle these. You can call the help desk here. They will give you a one-time override for your first prescription, and you can receive that medication while the doctor submits the prior authorization. Mail order will be through ProAct. You will have to set up a portal. You will have to set up your account on the website. Once you set up an account on their website, you can see the mail order pharmacy and have your provider send it to that mail order pharmacy. If you get your prescriptions through mail order, you can set up yourself on that auto refill program, and ProAct will reach out to your provider if you need refills or so forth. The help desk at ProAct is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This is their telephone number as well as the website. They have a chat function. You can also reach them by mail or fax. Your pharmacy benefits are made easy through the ProAct website. You can see your dashboard, you can see your benefits overview, you can view any claims history, you can transfer your prescriptions to mail order, you can manage your mail order prescriptions, you can view or print a temporary ID card, you can find a pharmacy near you. You can also look up the formulary and message with someone from ProAct directly on their website. So I recommend that everyone download this if you're enrolled in the medical plan and sign up on their website. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about RX Valet. If your prescription qualifies for the RX Valet program, as I said, RX Valet will reach out to you directly. This generally occurs after you fill your first prescription for the year. Once you fill that prescription and you enroll in the RX Valet program, RX Valet handles everything. They will walk you through the program, they'll get your approval, they'll manage your refills, and then they'll set up a home delivery. This is going to cost you no money out of your pocket if you go through the RX Valet program. The medications will be discreetly packaged and mailed to you. So this is a great option and a great way to save your money if you're on one of those medications that qualifies for this program. So the prescription drug benefit, this is just a few screenshots of the app and the website. This is how you sign up. So this will be sent out. You can, as I said, you can view your ID cards on there. You can see your claims. You can find a pharmacy. ProAct has 66,000 pharmacies in network. So all of, those, most of the major retail pharmacies are in their network. So very, very extensive pharmacy network. So if you're enrolling in coverage for the first time, you'll just need to activate your card. You'll call the number on the card. The card is going to look a little bit different this year. You'll see the UMR information as well as the new pharmacy information on that card. As a reminder, everyone's going to be receiving a new card because of the pharmacy changes. Benefits VIP is also here to support. If you have any questions about your prescriptions, you can call ProAct, you can call RX, you can call Benefits VIP. We are here to help. On the back of your ID card, this has your benefits and all of the member contact information, as well as the nurse line. Digital ID cards are available on the UMR portal and the app. I recommend that everyone sign up for this. They will not be available till mid-December, but they will be available sooner than receiving that card in the mail. So I recommend that everyone, if you're not signed up on the UMR app or portal already, sign yourself up. So once the enrollments are entered into their system, you'll be able to access your ID card. You should be able to sign up for the portal in just the next few weeks. Just some more information on how to sign up for the UMR portal. The UMR portal also allows you to do things like manage and view your medical claims, as well as see your accumulators. You can complete any health activities or wellness activities. You can also order a new ID card. You can find a provider. You can access your pharmacy benefits. There's a ton that you can do through the UMR website. This is how you sign up and search for a provider. The network is the United Healthcare Choice Plus network. So when you go to your provider, you're going to want to ask them if they participate in the United Healthcare Choice Plus network. UMR is owned by United Healthcare, and your medical network is that United Healthcare Choice Plus network. We discussed a little bit earlier what that EOB is going to look like. So when you're on that high deductible health plan, it's very important that you're reviewing these before you're paying your bills. This will show you how much you've met of your individual deductible, how much you have to go. It'll also show you the amount that the insurance is paid for, how much you're responsible for. So just as a reminder, if you're not signed up on the portal, you can access these on the portal, but you will also receive them in the mail. You can access your personal health information right on the UMR portal. If you have dependents who are over the age of 18, they must grant access for you to view their information. Dependents under the age of 18, you will be able to view on your portal. But if they're over the age of 18, they do have those rights, and they will have to share that access if you want to see their health details. UMR also has a wealth of information on their website. You can scroll down on the homepage and you'll see the resources that are available to you. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions in the chat so far. Feel free to put your questions in the chat. I know we have some big changes with the pharmacy and some changes with the two medical plans. We will stop at the end of the presentation for questions. We also have someone on from RX Valet if you have any, questions regarding the program. So next, we're going to move into the dental here. The dental plans are remaining the same for 2026. I believe there is a slight increase in the contributions here. So we have our base plan, which has a $50 deductible for an individual, $150 for a family. The deductible is waived for preventative care. Preventative care is covered at 100%. You will pay 20% co-insurance for basic services, 50% for major. For root canals or periodontal treatments, you'll pay 20%. This plan has a $1,500 per person calendar year maximum. It does also include out-of-network coverage, and orthodontia is not included in this plan. The next plan we're going to take a look at is the buy-up PPO dental plan. So this plan has a higher calendar year maximum, and it includes orthodontia for both adult and children. So the calendar year maximum on this plan goes up to $2,500 per person. You also have that orthodontia benefit that's included for adult and children. You will pay 50%, and there is a lifetime maximum on orthodontia care. Next, we're going to move into the voluntary vision program. So the vision program is you get exams every 12 months, lenses every 12 months, and frames every 24. You have a $20 copay for an eye exam and $20 copay for hardware. The frame allowance is up to 180 this year. So this is an increase from last year. I believe it was 130 last year, and it's now going up to 180. If you get featured frames, you can ask your provider what the featured frames are. You get up to $200. You can either get frames or contact lenses each year. You will have up to $150 for contact lenses. If you are out of network, you will need to pay at the time of visit, and you will need to submit a claim to get reimbursed. There was very, very minimal increases here, only just a few cents to this plan for that increased benefit. You can create an account on VSP.com. You can find an eye doctor on there, view your in-network providers. You can also see your claims and so forth. Okay, we're going to move into the employee spending accounts. We're moving pretty quickly here. So we're going to talk about the FSA. So we have two FSAs. We have the full healthcare FSA, which pairs with either Plan A or Plan B. And then we have the limited purpose FSA. So the full healthcare FSA you can use for medical, dental, and vision expenses. You can use it for over-the-counter medications and FSA eligible items. You can also use it for alternative care, things like chiropractic, acupuncture, massage. It's just a great way to put aside money pre-tax, reducing your taxable income for your healthcare expenses. So the limit for the FSA, whether you're enrolled in the full purpose of that limited purpose FSA, is $3,400 for 2026. There is a rollover maximum of $680 from 2026 into 2027. As a reminder, everyone needs to spend down their funds before the end of the year because you can only roll over up to $660 from 2025 into 2026. The limited purpose FSA, that pairs with the high deductible health plan. You do not need to have a limited purpose FSA. You can utilize your HSA for medical, dental, and vision expenses. But that limited purpose FSA lets you put aside additional pre-tax dollars. So you have that limit there on the HSA, so you can put aside additional dollars for dental and vision expenses into that limited purpose FSA. Dependent care account, This can be used to pay for childcare or adult care. The annual maximum increased for 2026. This is the first time it's increased in probably about 10 or 15 years. It's going from 5,000 to 7,500 if you're single or married filing jointly. If you're married and filing separately, it's going to be $3,750 for each you and your spouse. Parking and transit, you can set aside pre-tax dollars for mass transit and parking. These are separate accounts, so you can put both $340 a month in your mass transit and $340 a month in your parking, if you'd like. So the FSA accounts and the dependent care accounts are use it or lose it. Once you set your contribution for the year, you cannot change it. So if you elect, let's say, $2,000 for the year, that full $2,000 will be available on January 1st, but you cannot change the amount that you've elected in that FSA or dependent care account unless you have a qualifying life event. The HSA account and the parking and transit, you can change these throughout the year. You can increase, decrease your contributions. If you'd like to do that, you can always reach out to the HR team. I see a question in the chat regarding the dependent care account. Yes, the dependent care account is use it or lose it. You must spend down those funds before the end of the year. Okay, so now we're going to move into, oh, I see one more question before we move on. The parking and transit is not use it or lose it. Just like the HSA, those are your dollars. They roll over from year to year. If you leave the organization, however, and you have money in your parking and transit account, you'll no longer be able to use those dollars, so you will lose it. With like an HSA, those are your dollars. That is your account. So even if you leave the organization, that bank account goes with you. All right, so we're going to move on to life and disability. Life and disability is going to remain with Mutual Omaha. There's not many changes with life and disability, but there is one exciting change I do want to talk about as we go through this section. And that is the choice to buy the LTD tax choice. And we'll talk about what that means in just a few minutes here. Life insurance is provided to you at no cost. It's one-time your annual earnings up to a maximum of $50,000. And actually, let me edit this. I apologize. It is a flat $50,000 now. So everyone's going to receive that flat $50,000 amount. Life insurance is provided to you. It also, there's other features along with the life insurance that are available to you. Life insurance helps you cover immediate expenses, ongoing expenses, and future expenses if you pass away, and helps ensure the future of your family and your loved ones. Voluntary life insurance is available for the employee, the spouse, and your children. It is in $10,000 increments to a maximum of $600,000. There is a guaranteed issuance amount of $150,000 for an employee, $30,000 for a spouse. The spouse can elect in 5,000 increments up to a maximum of $250,000. And for your children, you can elect a flat $10,000. The plan also allows you to buy up $20,000 each year. So if this is your initial window to enroll in benefits, I would consider the voluntary life insurance, because if you enroll outside of that initial window, you will need to complete the evidence of insurability. Accidental death and dismemberment coverage is included. So if you are in an accident and you pass away, you have that double indemnity coverage there. So you'll receive not only the accidental death and dismemberment amount, but you'll receive the life insurance amount. Voluntary life, if you need to complete that evidence of insurability, if you're enrolling for the first time, and this is outside of your initial new hire window, you can go to Mutual of Omaha's website, put your group ID number in, and you can complete that evidence of insurability. And in most times, you will be approved or denied after completing it. Voluntary term life insurance includes the annual benefit amount increase. It's portable, it's convertible, it has an accelerated death benefit. It includes a waiver premium if you become totally disabled, and the premium rates are locked in for the 4-year age brackets. Your spouse's age will be based off of the employee's age. Excuse me. Short-term disability. Short-term disability is another employer-paid benefit. We like to refer to this as paycheck protection. There is an elimination period of 7 days for accident or illness. Once you've completed that elimination period, you will receive 50% of your weekly earnings up to $3,000. The maximum benefit duration is up to 12 weeks. If you continue to be disabled and move from short-term to long-term disability, the elimination period aligns. It is that 90-day elimination period. Your benefit on long-term disability is 60% of your monthly earnings up to a maximum of $15,000. Your own occupation definition, so if you're disabled and you cannot complete your own occupation, is for 24 months. Pre-existing conditions are, they will look back the prior 3 months. The maximum benefit period is up to age 62 or Social Security normal retirement age, whatever is longer. Long-term disability includes some additional features like partial disability benefits, vocational rehab incentive, as well as a survivor benefit for your loved ones. Okay, this is what I'm very excited to talk about this year, the long-term disability tax choice option. So right now, you only have the option for your employer to pay for that coverage. 2026, if you decide to pay the small premium dollars for LTD, you will receive the benefit post-tax. So what's important to understand here is when your employer is paying for the benefit, you have to pay the taxes when you receive the benefit. So for example, if you're making $100,000 a year, your benefit, if Samuel Ramirez pays for the LTD, will be $3,800. That's 60% up to a maximum of $15,000. That 60% is really more like $3,800. If you pay the $17 out of your paycheck for this benefit, you will receive the full 60% or $5,000 of benefit if you become disabled. Long-term disability is there to protect you if you become truly disabled. So it is a great benefit. Your benefit's going to be reduced a considerable amount if the employer pays for the coverage and you're receiving it and then you need to pay the taxes. If you're paying for the coverage up front, the benefit will be higher when you receive that benefit. So that 60% is a true 60%, whereas if Samuel Ramirez pays for the benefit, that 60% is really more like 40%. So the decision here is whether or not you want to pay the taxes sort of upfront or at the back end when you actually need the benefit. Employee Assistance Program. This is provided to you at no cost. The Employee Assistance Program does include some confidential sessions with a clinician for anxiety, depression, stress, and so forth. It also provides some additional legal guidance as well as work-life solutions like planning events, finding pet care, hiring movers. There's also some financial resources. So the EAP is available to you at no cost. You just go to guidanceresources.com, enter this web ID here, and you can get 24/7 support. MetLife Legal, this is a voluntary benefit. For just $24 a month, you get access to a network of lawyers for a ton of different things that include money matters, home and real estate, civil lawsuits, elder care, traffic. I think one of the most utilized features of this benefit is traffic tickets. So this is a great benefit for only $24 a month. If you need a lawyer, you get a certain amount of hours included, and then you get discounts on that network of lawyers. So at this time, I'm going to stop for questions. I'm doing a lot of talking. So I'm going to just stop. Feel free to put your questions in the chat. I see that they're being answered. You can also unmute yourself and ask your questions. If you don't have any questions, you can feel free to hop off. This is the end of our presentation. As a reminder, you must go in by December 1st to make your elections. Larry, I see you have your hand raised. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Mike, I see Larry had a question. I don't know if we answered it in the chat. Can we explain the 10% coinsurance means? Isn't it added cost? So maybe we can put up the EPO plan and talk about the coinsurance.
Yes. So yes, the 10% is an added cost out of your pocket for these high dollar expenses like hospital visits, surgery. You have to pay 10% of the charges after you've met your deductible. So for example, you have a surgery, your surgery cost $5,000. You're going to spend the first $1,500 if you're enrolled as an individual out of your pocket. And then, so you're going to take the 5,000, you're going to minus out the 1,500, and you're going to pay 10% of the remaining there. So that would be 5,000 minus the $1,500 deductible. That leaves you with $3,500. And you're going to pay 10% of that remaining, so $350.
Up until the out-of-pocket maximum. So worst case scenario, if you have an individual, you will never pay more than $2,000 in that situation. Or if two people in the family have a situation like that, you'll never go above 4,000.
Correct.
There's also a question, Mike, about medication that requires prior authorization, and how is prior authorization going to work with the new vendor? Is it going to carry over, or will new prior auths be required?
Yeah, so the prior authorization will carry over for the first fill of the year, and we will send out some communications on this. But a new prior authorization is going to be required within the first few months of the plan year. The insurance will reach out to your provider and let them know that a prior authorization is needed. But for your first fill of the year, you will not need a prior authorization if you are already on that medication.
And what a good idea for everyone on the call is, and anyone who's in any medical plan with a prescription coverage, is you should get your prescriptions filled before the end of the year. So come January, you'll have a good 60 or 90 days if you fill it for that much in front of you. And then you won't have to worry about that right away. In the beginning of the year, you'll even have a little bit extra before you even have to fill your regular prescriptions, or if you need that prior authorization, at least you'll be fully stocked.
Yep, and that is a great time to remind everyone, if you refill that prescription before the end of the year and you've met your out-of-pocket maximum or you've met your deductible, you may not have to pay anything for that medication, and you'll have that extra time to work with your provider and the insurance to get that medication filled. So you're not in a crunch when you need that medication filled.
I'm just hopping in here from the PROACT side. Hi, everyone. Excited to work with you. Also, if you have prior authorization at any point in the future as well, anytime it's about to lapse or we would need a new one, you and your provider would be reached out to get that started. So in no instance would it ever be a surprise that you would need to get one if you're already on a medication.
Thank you very much, Danielle.
Of course. I did see also there was a question, I think Larry still has his hand up, about getting prescriptions from Optum sent over from PROACT and what that process looks like. They would need to call in to us. Our help center is very welcome to take your calls in to assist with that, to get a new script from Optum or from your provider. If you go online to that portal and website that we had shared prior before, you can also request and we would reach out to your provider on your behalf. So we're more than happy to step in so to take as much of the load off of you guys and ensure that your prescriptions are getting filled in the proper manner.
Okay, Danielle, that's great. And this is Christine. So employees would go into their new PROACT website and reach out and say my Optum. So where are they going first to request that? I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
They have two options. They can either
Okay.
call in right to the help desk or they can enter
Okay.
the portal. Through the portal, there is the Messenger app. So there's a couple different options in which they can make that inquiry.
Okay.
And they won't be able to sign up for the portal right now, right? It's going to be a few weeks before they can sign up for that portal. So if you want to call into member services, you can.
Yep. So just so you guys know as well, until we get closer to, we won't have everything loaded up in about your plan specifically. So any calls that come into our help desk, won't be able to get too plan specific until closer to. So closer to when you get that ID card actually loaded in and in your hands is when we'll be able to start answering some of those questions.
And you can reach out to Benefits VIP as well for support. They, are benefits experts on Sam Ramirez's plan, and they'll be able to support you and work with the vendors to get that hashed out.
There's one more question, Kushal, and I can answer that for you about orthodonture coverage. There's no age limit. That's for children and adults.
Danielle, I have one other question for you. Will PROACT be sending a proactive outreach to employees once your system is loaded with the information to sign up for the portal?
They will get some communication from us prior to go live. They will not get here, you're ready to go. That being said, what I can do is ensure that our team reaches out to the corporate synergies and HR teams to let them know when things are loaded. So that can be you guys can send that message downstream if that would be okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Just want to make
Perfect.
sure we're getting that communication out to employees.
No, absolutely. I'll make sure that the team is prepped so that you guys have that.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
And for everyone on the call, I think using PROACT and having RxLA will be more of a concierge type service for our medications that won't change. You'll have more access to people, and it'll be easier to get a hold of someone if you do have issues with your medicines.
Yeah, we are very excited. I'm just going to hop in here and Trudy Davis is on the call. She's our senior customer service manager. She supports our help desk. They are a great resource. They're happy to answer any questions that you have, assist, and actually do outreach to your providers. They can answer questions about your prior authorization status. So just feel free to leverage us. Don't ever hesitate to call. I promise you don't have to go through putting in your member information just to get a answer from the phone. So very accessible, and we want to make sure that you're fully supported.
I see another question in the chat, not regarding the medical or the RX, but regarding the transit. So I just want to address this. The transit account, you must utilize your benefits card for the transit. The IRS does not allow you to submit paper claims if you have a debit card. So I saw that question in the chat pop up. but just so I answer that question for you. For parking, that's a little bit different. You can submit paper claims for parking. Any more questions on the RX or the medical? So the 300% of Medicare for the out-of-network, this is an increase, and this is for both Plan A and Plan C. So yes, this is a much richer benefit than there was in prior years if you see out-of-network providers. It will be detailed in the presentation that we're sending out, as well as the new summaries that will be coming later this month.
Yeah, so it's important if you have an out-of-network doctor, you're not going to need to give them your new card information. That plan update is just automatically going to happen for any claims or any events or doctor visits you have out of network after January 1 and on.
For the EPO plan, I see there's a question regarding lab work. So if you get lab work in an outpatient setting, this is going to be something like a outpatient hospital, or sometimes your provider has, they tell you to go downstairs if they're a part of a big hospital network to get your lab work done. You are going to have to meet your deductible and then pay 10% of the remaining. So I always recommend that you ask your provider to send the lab work to a LabCorp or a Quest. These are going to be the least costly places for you to receive that lab work. So you can ask your provider to send it to a LabCorp or a Quest or to those freestanding facilities, and you will pay significantly less.
I see a question from Constantine about the deductible being $1,500 and the out-of-pocket being $1,500, and that is with the A plan, the PPO Plan A, and that's correct. So your deductible is 15 and your out-of-pocket max is 15. That doesn't mean you might not pay doctor visits up front with the whatever that payment might be when you at the point of service.
Yeah, so what that means is this plan A is strictly a co-pay plan. You're going to pay every time you go to the provider a set dollar amount up until you reach that $1,500. You do not have to meet the deductible on this plan for services. As a reminder, this is the most expensive medical plan out of your pocket. If you want that out-of-network coverage, you want to pay a little bit less out of your pocket, maybe reduce your taxable income, you can take a look at that high deductible health plan and enroll in that high deductible health plan and contribute the difference of what it costs you to have the Plan A into your HSA account. And you can invest those dollars once you reach $1,000 in that account. So it is something to consider. If you're considering this PPO plan. That was one of the major reasons why we added the out-of-network to that high deductible health plan, so that we could give you a richer benefit on that plan, and you can still have those benefits of the HSA account.
Right. And so some people might never go out of network, but say you go to one doctor once a year and it's really not a regular out of network visit, and you see a specialist skin doctor once a year for your checkup and they don't take your insurance, you might consider the difference of what that costs for that one visit versus taking a PPO plan because or an EPO plan because you really don't need that, might not need that out of network benefit. We never know what you might need, but if it's only something infrequent, you might want to consider the difference in what you might pay out of pocket to be in those plans that don't have out of network or the lower plan that does. I hope I made sense there.
No, it made, I think it made a lot of sense. The high deductible health plan has a lot of benefits with the HSA account. You're also getting funds from your employer if you enroll in this account, and it will cost you considerably less out of your pocket. So it is something to consider when you're thinking about your plan choice for 2026. But if you have an FSA account, just remember you got to spend it down before you can open that HSA account. So you got to do that before the end of the year.
And so if someone, Mike, had carryover, they would want to make sure they knew what that carryover was, that, they still have to use, they have to have $0, right, in their current FSA to join.
Correct.
Okay.
$0. Correct.
Okay.
I see a question, is Walgreens in PROACT's network?
I can chime in there. So all major chains are included in ProX network, as most independent pharmacies as well. So I don't anticipate there to be any issues in there, but for Walgreens specifically, yep, you can go ahead. Just make sure that you bring that card and show it to the pharmacy when you go the first time. We always say that if you do forget it or there is an issue, please don't leave the pharmacy and just make sure you call our help desk. Our goal is always to make sure that we can get you out of there, whether it's with a mobile ID card to use in that exact moment on your phone, or figuring out another solution.
So I see there's a question in the chat regarding dependent care account usage. So the IRS has a list of what is included and what you can use your dependent care FSA funds for. I believe sleepaway camps are not on that. I believe it's only day camps, but I could be wrong. I recommend you go to the IRS's website, and I can drop that in the chat. Can also drop in the resource there. So I'll drop that in for you. One resource, and I could drop one more in there for you as well. And I believe HR has some more communications on this as well. If we need anything else, we can get it for you, Christine.
Okay. And again, just a reminder, we'll have more information on PROACT and flyers and information if you want to use mail order. And RxValet, again, we'll have some information on that and what to expect. So all of that will be coming. I don't anticipate anyone having too many hiccups or any issues going from December to January. But again, recommended that everyone fill any scripts if they're able to between now and December.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. Please feel free to reach out to Benefits VIP. Their information is in the benefits guide, which will be shared out shortly. It's also in this presentation. You can reach out to the My Life advisors if you have any questions on ADP specifically.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good one.